WBTV High Definition Program is sponsored by Time Warner Cable. WBTV News at 5 starts right now.
I hope this is a wake-up call. I really do.
This teen is going to prison for a drug-fueled crash that killed one of his best friends. Good evening and welcome, everyone. I'm Paul Cameron.
And I'm Maureen O'Boyle. It's good to have you here tonight. Police say Mark Mahon was high on a chemical used to clean computer keyboards when he crashed into this Birkdale Village movie theater last April. Today, a judge sentenced him to 6 months behind bars. WBTV's Sarah Batista is live tonight. And Sarah, the victim's family hopes this tragedy will be a warning to other teens.
Yeah, these parents say they had no idea that their teenagers were inhaling chemicals to get high, and police say that is what ultimately caused this crash. Both parents were in court today, and they say they hope this serves as a lesson to other teens about the dangers of huffing. Kim McMahon came to court to support her son, Mark McMahon. The 18-year-old pled guilty today to felony death by a vehicle.
I hope this serves as a lesson to other kids.
Investigators say McMahon was driving with his best friend, Don McDermott, in the passenger seat last April when he crashed his car. The accident happened outside of the movie theater at Birkdale Village in Huntersville. McDermott died at the hospital. Investigators later learned the teens had been inhaling the keyboard cleaner dust-off.
No, I didn't know. I didn't have any idea. I saw him after the accident. I had no idea he acted completely fine.
Police say the cleaner caused McMahon to black out just before the crash. In court, he apologized to McDermott's parents. He said, "If I could take back everything, I would. Since this happened, my whole life has changed." McDermott's parents say they had no idea the teens were huffing.
These inhalants that these kids do, I mean, you can't detect them. So they kind of blindside you. And if I would have known, I could have got him help.
The McDermotts say they accept McMahon's apology and know it just as easily could have been their son behind the wheel. They hope their story sends a message to other teens and parents.
Maybe this will teach him a little something that, I don't think it's a bad thing. At least he gets to go home. My son doesn't get to come home.
McMahon also said in court that he stopped driving after that accident, and he was so devastated that he wasn't able to finish high school. The judge sentenced him to 6 months behind bars and 6 months probation with community service. For now, we're live from the Mecklenburg County Courthouse. Sarah Batista, WBTV, on your side.
So many lives changed there, Sarah. Thank you. A new study just released this week shows more teens using drugs and alcohol. Marijuana use is up 22% in the past 2 years. And overall, more than 2/3 of all high schoolers say they've had an alcoholic drink.
Continuing coverage right now. A man drowns in Rock Hill. Sky 3 over the pond today off Oldfield Road. Witnesses say 24-year-old Leonard Roseborough went into the water and could not make it to shore. Now we're finding out a little more about how this happened tonight. That's coming your way at 5:30.
We now know the name of a man murdered in uptown Charlotte. Christopher Satterfield, found shot to death outside this condo in 4th Ward early Wednesday morning. His roommate called police and said he saw the suspect run away from the scene. Canine dogs couldn't find the killer. If you know anything, call Crime Stoppers. The number is 704-334-1600.
It could be late tonight before power is restored to every home in Mecklenburg County. Duke Energy crews back at it today working overtime to fix down lines. But the impact of days without electricity is costing people money. TV's Melissa Hankins is live tonight. She's on your side. Melissa, a lot of folks were in the dark about what their insurance covers.
Paul, some people in Charlotte have had no electricity for going on 3 days now, and even people who aren't dealing with a tree through the roof are suffering. We're talking spoiled milk, rotting meat, all sorts of food that has to be thrown out. It can be hundreds of dollars to replace. One man I talked to today, he didn't want to go on camera, but he said that he called his insurance company only to find out that it was considered an act of God and wouldn't be covered.
You do in that case? What can people do?
Well, Paul, there's a couple of things. First, you can dispute your claim with your insurance company. Sometimes complaining actually works. If it doesn't, contact the State Department of Insurance. The number is 1-800-546-5664. But it's also good to know what's in your policy before a disaster strikes.
So you're talking homeowners policies. What about businesses?
Paul, restaurants usually have the kind of insurance plans that will cover them if there's a power outage because food in their freezers can total thousands of dollars. But when it comes to things like paying employee salaries, usually those can't be recouped.
Melissa Hankins, our business reporter, live in our newsroom tonight. Thank you. We'll link you to the State Department of Insurance on our web extra section on our web channel, WBTV.com.
Paul, a quick thinking animal control officer helped save pets from a house fire. Sky 3 over the scene here in East Charlotte. The animal control officer spotted a fire here, called 911, then went to work making sure all the animals inside got out safely. No word on how that fire started.
President Obama and Speaker Boehner trying to avoid a government shutdown. They'll meet again at the White House in just 2 hours. And now we're learning more about the impact a shutdown could have here in the Carolinas. Military members at Fort Bragg and Fayetteville will lose their pay if lawmakers don't reach some compromise.
House bill, we have 2 cars. I mean, we've got 2 kids, 2 dogs, a cat, food. I mean, everything, phone bills, electric, everything.
That's Leanna Sveen. She's a young soldier's wife. The couple has 2 kids and bills that could force them to live paycheck to paycheck. Shutdown could also impact government workers and people who depend on services here in Charlotte. We've got that story all new at 6.
Students at UNC Chapel Hill staged a sit-in today, rallying for workers' rights on the steps of the South Building. Right now, maintenance employees have the option to work 4 10-hour days a week. UNC administrators want to force them to work 5 8-hour days. The university says the change would be more efficient, but workers don't want to lose that flexibility.
Well, this week's severe weather not enough to derail the Food Lion Auto Fair. Sky 3 over Charlotte Motor Speedway today. It's packed. Storm damage all cleaned up and cars are on display. It all starts today.
Oh, those cars are so cool to look at. Always a fun time there. Kelly Franson is in the First Alert Weather Center. A beautiful weekend for the car show.
Well, it's not the weekend yet, so we do have a few changes to talk about as we take you into the weekend. But before we get to that, it is gorgeous out there today. We've had a few clouds trying to swing through the area at times. Nothing serious, and if you've been outside, you know that it has warmed up quite nicely. Temperatures well into the 70s for most of the area, the exception the mountains, and even there in Boone, we managed to hit 70 degrees today. The high in Charlotte was 78. We're just down 1 from that right now, checking in at 77, and the rest of the evening should be gorgeous. Still in the 70s at 7, just barely falling into the 60s at 9, and still in the low to even mid-60s at 11 p.m., but storms will be threatening the area before too much longer. We'll talk about that in your full forecast. Right now, though, here's Jacinda Garabito with traffic.
Thanks, Kelly. Your First Alert Traffic is brought to you by Paramount Hyundai. If you have to run the kids around this afternoon, 2 injury accidents to bring to your attention. One is Prosperity Church Road and Dearman Road in this area. Jump on Brown Road as an alternate route. Second injury crash, East Independence Boulevard, just past Eastway Drive. It's blocking the right lane and some of Eastway Drive. Use Monroe Road as your alternate route. I-77 in South Charlotte near Tyvola Road, moving slowly, but not delayed as of yet. I-77 northbound in Huntersville is bumper to bumper, though. Now, we'll talk about I-85 in your next First Alert Traffic. Back to the news desk.
Cinda, thanks so much. Coming up, warm, wet weather means mosquitoes will be buzzing back soon. The steps now being taken to kill these pests before they spread their disease.
And at 5:15 on the internet, we have .biz, .gov, .com. Well, how about .XXX for the racy stuff? It's a possibility. I'll explain.
And next at 5, a suicidal gunman murders children in a Brazilian elementary school. Tonight, investigators think they know what triggered his killing spree.